I guess what I'm trying to go with is find something that works, but is also comfortable. So, like I said, you're going to want to start lower than you think, probably.
Yes.
Which is
always what I
Raz
say.
is hinting at.
Yes.
Yep. So start lower than you think. But the reason for that is in Call of Duty specifically, tracking is very important. Even more so in Black Ops 4 with higher health. So what tracking is your ability, just to be 100% clear here, is your ability to track across your screen at a moving target. So say someone's strafing across your screen like this, your ability to move your cursor and track them accurately. Now, if you're at a really high sensitivity, it's going to be really hard, and your aim's going to go in front of them and then back behind them, and you're going to jitter around, and most of your bullets are going to end up in the wind, not doing anything to that guy. And he's going to turn and he's going to kill you, and you're going to be like, holy crap, I'm bad at this game. Now, a lower sensitivity, the reason it helps you is because you have to move your arm more. And that is a more predictable and repeatable motion. So when you're using more muscles, to do something, it's a more predictable motion to get into your muscle memory. That just, makes sense. So if you actually have to move your arm a little bit, or your wrist at least a little bit, as opposed to just, the most minor movements to track across your screen, you're going to be able to be more accurate. Now, practice. This is the one thing a lot of people ask about aim trainers. This is the one thing aim trainers are really good for. They'll have you do flicking tests, tracking tests, and you can fiddle with sensitivities and go, oh, wow, I did way better tracking on this, even though it felt horrible. So try it a few more times, and if it's hurting your wrist, stop and raise or lower it until it's not hurting. But if it's not hurting you and you're doing better, keep going in that direction until you stop making progress. So for me, if you're at 6.5 sensitivity and you want to get better at tracking, lower it down to 6 and you do better. Okay, well then keep going. Go to 5.5. If you do worse at 5.5, go back up to 5.8. Eventually, you're going to get sore and tired of it, so you can't do this monster hour-long session of tracking practice. That's not going to be good for anyone. But, find something, do a few test runs, and then you'll eventually pretty quickly figure out, oh, well, I'm better at tracking between 5 and 6 than I am anywhere else, higher or lower. And that's kind of that's kind of what I meant with figure out something that's comfortable for you. So figure out something that works and that isn't hurting you. That's the biggest thing.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. So for me with the,
of course, if you're on controller, it just does all the tracking for you. So
yeah, if you're on controller, max your sensitivity and then just put your crosshair remotely on someone and it'll lock on for you.
Yep.
Any console peasants in the chat? Buy a computer. How about that? And then plug a controller into it. You get the best of both worlds. Okay, interesting. So on this point then, so for me, I very recently started doing aim trainers because I remember I asked Syrian and I asked Nate. I said, hey, do you guys ever use aim trainers or whatever? And they were like, and they were both like, oh no, I've never used them. That's what they told me. They were like, I just played the game and I got fucking insane like I am now. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Well, I guess I don't need them. This is wrong. So I don't know what fucking genetic mutation those kids have, but they're not kids. I'm sorry. That sounds condescending. I didn't mean it that way. Those young men have, but I don't have that. So eventually I was asking more streamers. So I asked like TGD, the same thing. I asked Nexus PC. I asked MP Control Ward, and they were in the opposite camp. They were like, fuck yeah, I use Kovacs a lot and it like helps me a lot. So eventually I did this, and this is literally like a month ago. I like decided to like try aim trainers, and what was good for me about it, I'm sure the sensitivity adjustment thing is a really good point, Tar, and I stand behind your assessment. But for me, what was good about it was I was like doing like the flicking exercise or whatever, and I was doing whatever, not great. And then I kind of like, I just tried like positioning my hand and my arm in like different spots. And then all of a sudden I did one particular thing where it's like my elbow, like basically this is on my desk. So my elbow's floating, but that's kind of it. And then also my right wrist was on my mouse pad 100% of the time. And when I did that, like strategy, I was like, oh, dude, my score like went up 80%, like my high score, first try. And I was like, okay, wow, there's something to this. So I kept doing that to see if it was a fluke, and it wasn't. And like now, my technique is better because I was trying because like you can, like obviously you're going to get opportunities to try a flick in when you're playing the game, but you maybe get 2 like proper flick opportunities per match, 10 minutes, say. That's not enough. So, but if you do Kovacs, in 60 seconds, you'll get fucking 80. So then it's really good for like allowing you to do a 1 minute drill of flicking and then trying like a different technique, see what's more comfortable, and then doing it again. And then that was the real utility I got out of aim trainers. So I think in addition to what Tar was saying, there's that benefit as well. And there are probably more than that also. Like, even if you're not trying to change your technique or your sense, if you have both of those locked in, it's still probably good just to practice, because you're not going to get an opportunity to flick 80 times in 60 seconds ever. So it's good for just practicing, even if your technique and your sense is locked in.